An emotional abuser will turn you into the problem. There comes a time in life when you start doubting yourself, and you do not even know why. You wake up every morning feeling a little smaller than the day before. You look in the mirror and you do not see yourself anymore. You see someone who is constantly blamed, who is constantly told that they are wrong. You see someone who has been made to believe that they are the problem. And this is exactly how an emotional abuser traps you. I have seen this happen in real life. I have seen strong, confident people turn into shadows of themselves because of one person who knew how to twist their mind. I remember a friend of mine. She was full of life when I first met her. She used to laugh loudly and dream fearlessly. But then, she met someone who slowly took that light away. It started with little comments like, "You are overreacting," or "You remember things wrong." She laughed it off in the beginning, but soon those little comments became her reality. She started questioning her own memory, her own feelings. This is the first tactic, gaslighting. They make you doubt what you know to be true. They rewrite your reality until you are not sure of anything anymore. Then comes blame shifting. Every fight, every argument, every issue somehow becomes your fault. They will tell you, "I only got angry because you provoked me. I only lied because you made me." They will take their wrong actions and place them on your shoulders like heavy stones until you start apologizing for things you never did. And you carry that guilt like a burden, thinking maybe if I change they will stop. But they never do. And then there is the silent treatment. Have you ever felt invisible in a room with someone you love? That coldness that makes you feel like you do not exist. They use silence as a weapon to punish you, to make you desperate for their attention. You start walking on eggshells, trying to earn back their approval, but the truth is, you never did anything wrong. Silence is their tool to control you. Another powerful tactic is projection. Whatever they are doing, they accuse you of doing. If they lie, they will call you a liar. If they cheat, they will call you unfaithful. It is their way of keeping you on the defensive, while they hide their own behavior. My friend told me once, she found proof that her partner was talking to someone else, and when she confronted him, he screamed at her for invading his privacy, and accused her of being controlling. She ended up apologizing to him for catching his betrayal. That is how twisted projection can be. Then they play the victim. They will hurt you and then cry about how you are hurting them. They will tell everyone how difficult you are, while they pretend to be the one suffering, and people around you may even believe them because they are so good at acting. But deep down, you know the truth. You know the nights you cried alone. You know the pain you have been carrying. One of the most confusing tactics is love bombing followed by withdrawal. At first, they give you so much love, so much attention that you feel like you have finally found your perfect partner. They make you feel special, like you are the center of their world. Then suddenly, they pull away. They become distant, cold, and you do not know what you did wrong. You try harder to get that love back, but it was always a trap. They wanted you hooked on their approval. And when all else fails, they use threats and emotional blackmail. They will say things like, "If you leave me, I will ruin you," or "I cannot live without you." You feel trapped in fear because they have convinced you that you cannot survive without them. But you can. You always could. I am telling you this because I want you to see what is really happening. If any of this feels familiar, know that you are not the problem. You never were. The problem is the person who decided to control you by breaking you down. And once you see the pattern, you can start to break free. The first step is awareness. The moment you name what is happening, You take back a piece of your power. The second step is boundaries. You have the right to say no. You have the right to walk away from disrespect. The third step is finding support. Do not suffer in silence. Talk to someone you trust, because isolation is what keeps you stuck. And the final step is rebuilding your self-worth. Remember who you were before they made you doubt yourself. You are still that person inside. You are strong. You are worthy of love that does not hurt. I have seen people rise from this darkness. I have seen them reclaim their lives. I have seen them smile again, without fear. And so can you. Today can be the day you decide no more. Today can be the day you stop apologizing for existing. Today can be the day you take the first step toward freedom. And when you do, you will look back and realize you were never weak. You were surviving the storm. And now you are ready to live. There was a woman I once knew. She was bright and full of life. She believed in love. She believed in kindness. She was full of life when I first met her. She trusted people and loved deeply. She had a heart that gave freely. Then she met him. At first, he seemed perfect. He treated her like she was the center of his world. He told her she was everything he ever wanted and needed. She thought this was love. She thought this was real. But slowly, things started to change. It started small. He'd say things like, "You're too sensitive," or "You're overreacting." At first, she thought maybe he was right. Maybe she was just imagining things. But the little jabs began to get sharper. He'd deny things she knew were true, things they both had shared. "I never said that," he'd say. "You're remembering it wrong." And that's when she began to doubt herself. That's when gaslighting began. Gaslighting is when someone makes you question your reality, your thoughts, and your memories. They twist the truth so much that you start doubting yourself. She didn't know it at the time, but this was the start of a cycle that would trap her. Every fight turned into her fault. If he shouted, it was because she provoked him. If he lied, it was because she made him do it. She tried harder. She tried to be better. She thought if she could just do everything right, he would stop being angry. But he never did. He just kept shifting the blame, making her feel like the problem was her and not him. She became exhausted. She became small. Then came the silent treatment, the cold shoulder. He would ignore her for days. She would beg for his attention, apologize for things she didn't even do, just to get him to speak to her again. The silence was punishment. It was meant to break her down. It was meant to make her feel invisible. He also began to project everything onto her. Every fault, every flaw he had, he placed on her. If he did something wrong, he'd accuse her of doing the same. If he was distant, he'd call her needy. He made her feel like she was always in the wrong. Every time she tried to explain herself, she ended up defending herself, trying to prove that she wasn't crazy, that she wasn't overreacting. But that's how it works. They keep you defending yourself until you forget how to stand up for what you really feel. And then, of course, came the victim card. He'd tell everyone how hard she was to deal with, how difficult she was. He made himself out to be the poor, misunderstood one, while she was the villain. She started feeling like she couldn't trust anyone anymore. Everyone seemed to believe him. They didn't know what was happening behind closed doors. But the most heartbreaking part came when he started pulling her in with love, and then pushing her away. One day he'd be showering her with affection, telling her how special she was, The next day, he would withdraw completely. He became cold, distant, unapproachable. She would do anything to get back to the version of him who had made her feel so loved. But that version was never real. It was just a tactic. A way to keep her hooked, to keep her chasing something that was never there. And when she finally decided to leave, he threatened her. He said he couldn't live without her, that if she left, he would ruin her. He made her feel guilty for even thinking about walking away. He put the weight of his emotions on her, and she felt like she was trapped in a cage with no way out. But here's the truth, she could leave. She could walk away, and so can you. The moment you realize you are not the problem is the moment you take back your power. You were never the problem. The problem is someone who manipulated you. Someone who used your love to control you. She started to see the truth. She started to set small boundaries. She told him, "I will not tolerate this. I will not be treated like this anymore." And little by little, she took her life back. She sought support from friends who saw the truth, and she began to rebuild herself. Slowly but surely, she regained her strength, her confidence, her sense of self. She walked away. It wasn't easy. It was terrifying. But she did it. And when she did, she felt free. She smiled again. She laughed again. She started living again. I saw her a few months later, and she looked like a new person. She told me, "I didn't know how strong I was until I had no choice." You are strong too. You are stronger than you know. You have the power to walk away. You have the power to reclaim your life. You have the power to live without fear, without guilt, and without shame. You do not have to stay in a relationship that makes you feel small. You do not have to stay with someone who sees your kindness as weakness. You can rebuild. You can heal. You can live the life you deserve. It starts with recognizing the truth. It starts with knowing that you are not the problem. And it starts with walking away from the toxic cycle that has held you back for so long. When you take that step, you will realize that you were never weak. You were surviving. And now, you are ready to live.